Did you see what's going on? Obviously, you've seen what's going on in California. But the governor gave this creepy fucking speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down while it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with these, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We got some ideas. A speculator. We're gonna have some meetings. Like, he's
really?
Oh.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse. Who hasn't?
It opened with confidence and a practiced smile, but that composure faded quickly. As the situation intensified, Gavin Newsom appeared momentarily disoriented, even losing track of which camera held the floor. Viewers noticed the hesitation immediately, and it set the tone for what followed. Joe Rogan stepped in with force, presenting point after point in rapid succession. The pace left little room to regroup, and the pressure kept building. Moments later, Greg Gutfeld joined the exchange, adding pointed remarks and sharp humor that cut through the discussion and amplified the tension in the room. What followed went far beyond routine pushback. The exchange unraveled steadily, with each moment adding to the sense that control was slipping away. The confident setup gave way to visible strain, and the atmosphere shifted from debate to breakdown in real time. By the end, it was clear this was no ordinary media appearance. The structure collapsed, the balance was gone, and the moment became unforgettable television. For viewers, it wasn't about policy or positioning anymore. It was a live broadcast example of how quickly a planned discussion can turn into an on-air spectacle.
Nobody wants President Newsom either. Nobody believes in that guy. That guy's a fucking con man. Everything he did in California, from trying to mandate vaccines for kids to being caught public without a mask and lying about the fact that he was outdoors.
Yeah.
Nobody believes in that guy. He's just a politician. Just a stone-cold, narrative-driven politician. Nobody thinks he's a real human. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's corrupt or not, that's a human being. You know what that guy is. Same thing with RFK Jr. Whether you believe that he's correct about vaccines or whether you believe his policies would be effective, and that's a human being. With Newsom, you got like this construct, this cardboard cutout of a person. I don't think people want that, but they might want it more than they want president.
The shot shifted back to Gavin Newsom as the camera moved in closer, capturing a moment where he stood completely still at the podium. He appeared composed, almost glowing with self-assurance, like someone convinced the room naturally falls silent when he begins to speak. For a brief second, everything felt carefully staged and under control. Then the tone changed instantly. A sharp voiceover cut through the moment, heavy with irony and unmistakable edge. As soon as Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld focused their attention on California's most recognizable political figure, the exchange stopped feeling like a discussion. The atmosphere tightened and the pace shifted fast. What followed played out more like a public unraveling than a traditional interview. Every response was met with pressure, every pause magnified on screen. The polished presentation and tailored image no longer offered protection as pointed commentary kept landing one after another. This was not a standard debate with back-and-forth arguments. It became a televised takedown of a carefully built public persona. In just minutes, the confident image began to crack, leaving viewers watching a rare moment where preparation met unexpected resistance on live television.
Kennedy, I think the answer is yes. Was
it because of Israel? Yes. Interest rates? Yes. Too woke? Yes. It's like every bad policy that trickled up to the White House during the Biden administration started in California. That state is responsible for the worst politicians in modern history. And he is at the top of the list, and there are some ignoramuses on that.
Let's focus on Gavin Newsom himself. He enters public spaces with a carefully managed presence, as if every appearance is part of a larger production. His expressions are polished, his talking points well-rehearsed, and his delivery often mirrors the tone of a motivational speech rather than an open discussion. It's a style designed to project confidence and authority at all times. For years, he has been positioned as a leading figure within progressive politics. His messaging is smooth, his language filled with familiar themes on climate, reform, and leadership. Supporters see him as composed and forward-looking, someone who knows how to command attention and stay on message under pressure. However, when the surface presentation is stripped away, critics argue that the substance becomes harder to find. Moments of uncertainty reveal how quickly the momentum can stall once scripted responses run out. The confidence that defines his public image can give way to hesitation when faced with unscripted challenges that, in the end, the contrast is what stands out most. There is a strong emphasis on presentation, branding, and performance, but questions remain about depth and follow-through. That gap between image and impact is what continues to fuel debate about whether style has begun to outweigh real progress in modern political leadership.
Their houses have been burned, all their childhood memorabilia, all the stuff for their kids, the photos, the fucking everything they have is gone. All heirlooms, their mother's wedding ring, that kind of shit. Everything's burnt to the ground. And this guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about land use.
The development plan.
His climate messaging deserves a closer look as well. The promises come fast and often, delivered with confidence and ambitious language. On paper, the goals sound sweeping and bold, painting a picture of a cleaner and more advanced future. The rhetoric suggests a state ready to lead by example on environmental change. Yet the reality on the ground tells a more complicated story. California's energy system continues to struggle under pressure, sometimes faltering during basic weather challenges. Residents are encouraged to adopt electric solutions, only to be reminded that power use must be limited during peak hours because supply cannot keep up with demand. That contradiction has not gone unnoticed. Policies are announced with urgency, while everyday logistics lag behind. Restrictions are introduced before infrastructure feels fully prepared, leaving people confused about how progress is supposed to function in daily life. In the end, critics argue this approach feels more symbolic than practical. The focus appears centered on messaging rather than execution, creating a gap between intention and outcome. For many observers, it raises a serious question about whether environmental leadership is being measured by results or simply by how convincing the presentation sounds.
And he's the guy who thinks he's going to run for president when, so much of the state is absolutely unlivable. And so every project that he's championed, he's now trying to demonize conveniently, and people are not that dumb. Like, people have been through it in his state. They are sick of him. They want him to leave, and maybe that's why so many people around him are like, you should totally run for president. So he gets out of the state.
Yes. Move away. Tyrus, did he leave out any?
His departure from California wasn't subtle, and it didn't feel accidental. It looked more like a decisive exit, the kind made when someone realizes the environment no longer matches their values or expectations. As conditions in the state grew more complicated, the image of a carefree paradise began to fade for many observers. Over time, frustrations mounted. Rising costs, strict regulations, and ongoing disruptions changed daily life in visible ways. Even figures known for tolerance and patience eventually reached a breaking point. Joe Rogan was one of them. Choosing to leave rather than adapt to rules he openly questioned, he headed east, settling in Texas, where he described finding more personal freedom and fewer constraints. The move symbolized a sharp contrast in lifestyles, trading congestion and restrictions for open space and a different governing philosophy. It was a shift that drew attention far beyond state lines. Importantly, he didn't go quietly. Rogan carried his platform with him, continuing the Joe Rogan Experience, a show that has grown into one of the most influential media voices in the world. With tens of millions of listeners, it shapes conversations in ways traditional networks struggle to match. What sets his platform apart is its unscripted nature. Long-form discussions, direct questioning, and minimal filtering attract audiences hungry for open dialogue. That approach brought renewed focus on California's leadership decisions, especially during lockdown periods. While state officials promoted strict rules, images and reports of exceptions and mixed messaging fueled criticism. Rogan highlighted those contradictions publicly, turning them into national talking points. The result was more than a personal move. It became a broader commentary on leadership, accountability, and the growing divide between public policy and public trust.
Down in Hawaii, you had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes. A lot of those people don't even have fire insurance because the fire insurance pulled out of California. I think like 69% of fire insurance pulled out of California because they're like, this is too crazy. Like, you guys aren't doing jack shit to manage this. You're not clearing the brush.
Rogan didn't arrive at this moment by himself. He brought with him a wide range of voices, including medical professionals, financial analysts, and entertainers who blended expertise with sharp commentary. Despite their different backgrounds, they all highlighted the same concern. Many of California's regulations appeared inconsistent and difficult to justify. Business owners felt the strain almost immediately. Smaller operations struggled to survive under shifting requirements, while large corporations seemed better equipped to absorb the disruption. To many observers, the rules felt unevenly applied, creating frustration and uncertainty across entire industries. Public health directives added to the confusion. Guidance changed frequently, often without clear explanations, leaving people unsure of what was expected from one week to the next. This unpredictability weakened public confidence and made compliance feel more like guesswork than cooperation. Throughout these developments, state leadership continued to project confidence. Carefully staged appearances and optimistic messaging aimed to reassure the public. But critics argued that presentation alone could not rebuild trust once it had been shaken. Then came a broader shift that could not be ignored. Major companies and high-profile individuals began relocating, signaling a larger movement away from the state. This modern migration reflected concerns about costs, regulations, and long-term stability. Rogan's decision to move his operation to Austin became a defining example. Rather than simply discussing policy disagreements, he acted on them, relocating both his work and his daily life. That choice carried weight because it wasn't theoretical or symbolic. In the end, his most persuasive statement wasn't delivered through data or debate. It was demonstrated through action. By leaving, he turned personal experience into a living argument, illustrating how policy decisions can influence real lives in lasting ways.
So, while Californians have lost their homes and they're still suffering from the devastation, what does Gavin Newsom decide to do? Well, now is apparently the perfect time to try and boost his popularity and essentially promote himself. He's launched a podcast. I'll play you the trailer in just a moment, but take notice. Does the trailer that he shared with the world on X, does it even mention the most horrific fire catastrophe that occurred under his leadership, partly as a result of the decisions he was making, like cutting fire prevention? No, this is his chance to talk about his image, insisting that he's no ordinary politician.
He didn't need to raise his voice or turn it into a performance. Rogan simply took the microphone and stated what many viewers had already been saying quietly to themselves. The system wasn't delivering the results it promised. The message was direct, calm, and difficult to dismiss because it echoed widespread frustration. Then Greg Gutfeld stepped into the moment with his signature style. Instead of shouting, he relied on sharp timing and pointed humor. His commentary was controlled and deliberate, with each remark carefully aimed to expose contradictions rather than create noise. The delivery was light on volume, but heavy on impact. Gutfeld focused on the contrast between image and outcome. He He highlighted how polished presentation and confident branding can mask deeper problems. The argument wasn't about appearances alone, but about leadership effectiveness when presentation takes priority over practical solutions. As the discussion widened, attention shifted to conditions on the ground. Beneath the optimistic messaging, critics pointed to growing homelessness, struggling small businesses, and communities under visible strain. These realities stood in sharp contrast to the glossy public image often presented on screen. Throughout it all, Gavin maintained a composed and upbeat demeanor. Supporters saw confidence, while critics saw detachment. The moment underscored a growing concern among viewers that complex social issues cannot be resolved through messaging alone. In the end, the exchange wasn't driven by theatrics. It resonated because it reflected a broader public mood, one shaped by lived experience rather than slogans. The conversation captured a deeper question facing modern leadership. When reality and presentation collide, which one is truly being addressed?
Anything? I think there's about 100 other reasons too.
Well, it's not his words when he speaks.
Yeah.
You have to watch him closely. And some genius decided not to film him any lower than the shoulder.
Yes, did you? Yes.
So what did he do?
You couldn't see the hands.
No, but he sent Morse code.
Yes.
Go back and watch it. Look at the blinking. Blink, look. Meet me at the house. Like, he's blinking. He's sending, I'm getting there. Hey, just so you know, I'm not wearing.
But Gutfeld didn't limit himself to surface-level criticism. He aimed deeper, directing attention toward the media's constant admiration of Gavin Newsom. Major outlets often present him as a symbol of modern leadership, polished, confident, and endlessly praised. Yet, according to Gutfeld, that shine hides serious disorder beneath carefully managed coverage. His focus quickly shifted to the disconnect between headlines and daily reality. While newspapers and magazines celebrated bold leadership and visionary language, many residents were dealing with rising living costs, expensive fuel, and rent that stretched household budgets to the breaking point. The praise felt detached from what families were actually experiencing. Gutfeld commentary went beyond humor. His monologues challenged the way success is defined and promoted. He questioned how glowing profiles could exist alongside growing financial stress, where even basic groceries became a source of anxiety for many households. He then turned to environmental messaging, dismantling popular phrases and lofty promises. The language sounded inspiring, but he pressed on the practical question of cost and execution. Policies looked impressive on paper, yet ordinary people were often left managing power shortages and unreliable infrastructure. Meanwhile, officials appeared insulated from the consequences, moving comfortably through systems that worked better for them than for the public. Charging networks and energy solutions were often discussed more than they were delivered. In the end, Gutfeld's argument was clear. What was being presented as progress looked more like presentation than performance. The policies, he argued, were built for appearance and promotion, turning serious issues into carefully staged moments rather than lasting solutions.